about brain science. So there you see some people not choosing to fly, but choosing to fight. We're going to talk about that kind of response. These are normal resistances people have to negotiation that we have to be able to overcome. We have to recognize them and have some ideas for overcoming. First one is neurobiological, and it is the simple fight or flight response. I come to Kevin. Kevin's heard that Charlie's coming over and he's going to negotiate with Kevin about something. Kevin's going to have perhaps one of two responses. If he were to say, I'm going to fight, that's my response to this, what do you think that would look like as I went in and negotiate with him? What would he be showing me? That he's ready to fight. That's his response. I would say he's probably going to be standing like this. He's dug himself into a position, and he is now there to prepare and hold at all costs. I'm not going to hold off on this. If it was Scott's case and he's the client, or rather he's the vendor, he's going to say, I'm getting paid on 2 milestones. I'm not listening to 1 milestone. I am dug in, ready to go. Flight a little differently. People can react another way, and you usually see that when they buckle right in front of you. I go into Kevin. I get halfway through my pitch of trying to explain to him he's only getting paid on 1 milestone. And he's, okay, fine. The problem with that is nothing happened. He didn't buy into that at all. He's probably just buckling. I have to recognize that and not say, that was a good negotiation. This was a good engagement. What I did is watch my prey, my quarry, flee at that point. Nothing got done. We have to be able to deal with those two things.
What if I hide?
You would be in the flight mechanism, all right? We'll count that as flight. So how do we deal with someone who's dug in, not moving on? They've got their position. We know this. We can sense it. How do we deal with that fight response? Any thoughts on what you would do with someone that you have to get somewhere with, but they're stuck in their spot? You know, you think back to Tactics 101, it's the feigned withdrawal. I come up, you're dug in, you're not moving out. So maybe I back off a little bit and try and draw you out of the position by asking some questions or showing that I am open. I'm not here to fight with you. I'm actually trying to get somewhere. A term you can use there, a word to use, is interests instead of positions. This is straight out of the sort of 1980s classic of referring to interests, not positions. Kevin has a position. He's going to hold it. 2 milestones, nothing else. I might approach him instead of put a different word in his mind and say, what are you interested in getting done here today? Because his interests are actually not the same as his position. He also wants a solution. He wants this to end. Using that word on Kevin might get him to come out a little bit and think differently about it. Just a little jujitsu trick, but something to remember. On the flight side, how do I deal, or how would you deal with somebody who simply buckles and you realize they haven't agreed to anything? They're basically lying to me and trying to get out of this talk. How do you re-engage and get them going and get that back into something productive? It's definitely easiest to take what they give you and walk away and say, I've achieved victory, but it is pointless. And I think, just based in decades of experience in management, and everyone has a ton also, probably 2 out of 3 of these you run into the flight, not the fight situation. Most of the people don't actually want to spar and negotiate. They're going to buckle, and you get nowhere with it. It's awful, particularly on IT projects. All right, what I had down here I'll bring up for a second, but these are better answers than what I had. One type you run into is not someone who just buckles, but who claims they're too busy. I know you want to talk about this, Adam. This is all you think about. You're just a contract PM. I've got so many things going on. I don't even have time to think about this right now. The busier than thou attitude. What I have to recognize there, if I'm trying to get Adam to engage and he's pulling a busier than thou on me, I have to think a little bit of, well, why might he feel that way and address it? So I don't want to dwell on this because we have some good answers, but sort of think through, again, why are they acting the way they are? That busier and thou tends to come from someone, particularly in a client situation, where for whatever reason they feel unsupported. They feel like they simply don't have the brain power to do that, and we have to help them with that. Buttress them up and get them ready to negotiate with us. And that brings us to our next one. Psychological resistance, which is that fear of responsibility and accountability. They simply don't want to negotiate because they don't want to make a decision to be held for it. A wishy-washy stakeholder can't negotiate. We've talked about that. Kevin brought up a good one, and I think it ties in a bit to this. One thing we can do for someone who's wishy-washy and doesn't want to negotiate is acknowledge it, normalize it. Let them know they are not the one person who hates negotiating. No one loves this, you can say to them. No one likes this type of thing. But you're a proven leader. You're an expert on how we're going to work through this SOW issue, Kevin. I need your help on this. No one's asking you to be fearless about it also. Yes, it's a high-stakes thing. I realize there's some risk to it. Help them with that. Normalize it. Let them know this is on the table and understood. Another way is maybe break down the responsibility if you know they're afraid of handling too much. Kevin, we are deciding about 2 milestones in this entire project. It's important, but the entire project doesn't, hinge on this. Let them know that what they're afraid of is not as important as they think it is, and put it in the context of the overall situation. We have to simply, again, communicate and draw things out with them. Another way to do this, and I think this is kind of getting to the first point of your response there, is let them know that responsibility, yeah, it's a leadership task, and you're in this role, client stakeholder, because you are a leader. Make sure they understand that, and sometimes that shame can work, of saying, look, compromises are part of this project. Decisions are a burden, but they're also why you're in the role you're in now. We need to move through this and get through it. But if you can't get through this sort of psychological resistance, there's really not going to be a negotiation.